All right, video analysis here on Daniel H. Let's see what we got. Leg lift, drive, follow through. All right, pretty solid. Looks like we're making some progress. So let's break this down. We got leg lift right here. Good weight shift, right? We could see he gets that balance point with his leg lift. He gets a pretty good weight shift. Again, hard to kind of tell from the angle, but when we see here when his front foot clears, what I do like is that back leg is locked and loaded. Boom, boom. We got weight on there. Front leg is closed, so that's good. Hips are in a good position. Looks like we're reaching down to the pocket like we practice. I know you hunch forward a little bit like this. You're not so much straight up. That's a little bit of preference. You just have to watch out for that because this front side right here can end up getting too rotational, but you have a really strong tuck. So what happens here is with the strong tuck, it's going to anchor your front side, which keeps you in a straight line, which is great. So it looks like it's the natural way you throw, so I would keep that. Now we get in a position out here, driving with that elbow up, right? Now our front foot is starting to open, which is going to open our hips. Our back leg is still loaded. Eyes on target. Looks like we're getting up to that throwing position as well. Take this a little further. Now we're in a position here where as we enter front foot strike, we're firing the hips. Looks really good, right? So that means we're here. If you take a look at this back leg, while this front leg is going forward, you'll see this back knee start to come forward, and that forces the hips open as we get into front foot strike right here. So now we're in a position when we get to front foot strike, our belt buckle is facing home plate. Looks like you're landing on your toe, which I know you got sneakers on, artificial mound. So that could be a little tricky compared to a dirt mound, but we're doing our best in the off season, right? So we're here. This is a really strong position to be in. I think you still have some work to do with your hip mobility, but it definitely looks improved from previous videos. Stable with the front leg out in front. Back leg fired, so the hip, again, is facing home plate. Arm looks a little low right here. I know you're like a low 3/4 type of guy. Just be careful. We don't want to push the ball. It's going to put too much stress on our arm, especially our elbow as we add velocity, and it can affect your command and consistency. So it looks like you end up bringing it up a little bit, so it's not too bad because it ends up being like even with the shoulder here. So now the only thing I'm going to talk about that definitely needs improvement is our hip to shoulder separation, right? And a lot of that's going to be from mobility and being deliberate with our med ball drills. So what that means is I want my shoulders to be a little bit more squared off in this position where it's a little more facing first base instead of like facing the first base dugout, what it looks like right here. And the hips will be a little bit more open when you get them more mobile. So that's going to help you just get more range of motion so that you can get a little bit more torque through your midsection as you transfer the energy. So now as we launch forward, ball release looks really good. You're releasing, it looks like right here in front of your toe, right? And you're getting a pretty long stride, especially for your height. So you're getting close to home plate, which is great. And we're getting some good tilt right here. So decent trunk action, right? And it looks a little exaggerated as well. Front leg not totally locked, but stable enough. And we're over-rotating just a little bit, which tells me that your timing might be slightly off, and I think that is because of the mobility. Because if your hips were fully mobile and you were fully open here instead of like 90% open, you'd get more power into the baseball as opposed to the restriction, which is causing kind of this over-rotation that we see at the end. So for you, I highly suggest continuing with the arm path drills. Continue to clean that up. Looks really good. We don't want to be in a low position here because we don't want to drag. So just be conscious of that. Might be splitting hairs at this point. But the mobility and the strength are going to be really important for you because we want to produce even more power from this back leg. We want to really capitalize on these mechanics. Produce more power from the back leg through our med ball drills and our weight training. And then in our front leg, as we get more strength and more quality mass in this front leg, especially through the single leg variations in this position, it's going to be even easier to lock out in front Because you're seeing here where you lock out, you land, and then your front foot comes up a little bit, right? You'll see it kind of, boom, come up a little bit, so you're leaking some energy. I know it's an artificial mound in January, February, so it's understandable, but something to be mindful of as we enter the season. And once you get that mobility locked down, your improvement in your hips moving is going to be tremendously better. Let me know what you think. Looks like you have a pretty clear path ahead. Keep putting in the work, my man.